Our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
You mean shenanigans? Oh! You're talking about shenanigans, right?
My fault. Usually, I don't really have to call girls back usually after we do it.
They don't want to see you anymore.
I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's like a ghosting thing, but it's been kind of, frequent lately.
Oh, speaking of ghosting, welcome to
Punkass
and Random Heroes Cheeky Shenanigans. Shenanigans.
Yeah.
My name is Jesse, aka Random Hero.
My name is Nick Carter, aka Punkass, because that's my name.
That is your name? That's your occupation?
Yeah, occupation, decrastination. Don't know if that's a word. I just made it up.
Decrastination?
Yeah.
What are you doing over there?
I'm trying to get the internet.
You trying to get the internet?
It's like DSL over here.
Getting some of them
Some
there.
dial-up.
Dial-up.
Do you remember dial-up, right? There, you'd be able to get pictures. Video was kind of hard because the internet wasn't really fast.
Yeah.
So the porn wasn't available as it is like today really fast. So you wouldn't want to get video. So then you would, there's this one website I used as a younger preteen. It used to be called pickabeaver.com.
Pickabeaver.com.
And it would show pictures of, girls downstairs
That's it? No upstairs, no face, nothing? Just...
No, well, there was other categories like pick a boob. So you would have to wait 5 minutes just for that one picture to load up and then try to print it out because you're not old enough to get porn magazines.
Actually wait. You're telling me in the dial-up days you would download a picture of a vagina.
Yep.
And then you would print it off.
Well, that way if you print it off, then you don't have to go back a few days later and try to dial up the same different photo, It's just the hard times of trying to, get porn as a kid back then.
Dude, I tried as hard as anyone else at that age, but I don't think I've ever met anyone who thought to actually print it off the computer.
Yeah, why would you not print it?
Because why would you?
Because what if you wanted to whack off? Are you just going to whack off right there in the computer chair? Usually,
most people do.
Usually back then, everyone only had one main computer kind of in the family area.
Oh, yeah, that's where ours was.
Yeah, so...
And when my parents were asleep, when I grew up, all the way up until about junior year of high school, we lived in a little mobile home.
Yeah.
And when my mom married Glenn, they ended up buying, a much bigger house, and that's the house that my brothers basically grew up in. But in that small house, dial-up days, we finally got a decent computer that could use the internet. And so, when they were gone or asleep, I would occasionally try to look up porn. Not often. I wasn't that into it, but every now and then I would give it a shot. And I thought I was, being sneaky and all that. And this was right about the time that that Pamela Anderson sex tape had come out.
Ah, yeah.
And I don't even remember looking it up, but I guess it might have just been on one of the pages I was at.
Right.
And suddenly one day my mom just comes out all furious, just... You're looking at porn on there, aren't you? And I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, and she's just like, who is Pamela Sue Anderson? And I was like, I don't know, Mom. I mean, I was totally caught red-handed, if you will, but there was no way I was going to admit to it.
Yeah, it was, you had to learn pretty quick on how to, get rid of the history. Because back then, it wasn't as easy, I think it is now, looking up ways to do stuff.
Yeah.
I always had to figure out ways to try to, get rid of my tracks.
Yeah. My dad, he, one interesting thing about him, and this was kind of strangely forward-thinking for a guy who was always so buried by his past, but when, this probably would have been a couple years even before the story I just told you, right when... AOL is still sending out discs for 1,000 free hours.
I remember those,
Yeah, everyone's coasters.
Yeah.
But so in those days, my dad decided he wanted to create an ISP, an internet service provider, and compete with that.
So kind of like an AOL?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he successfully did it. He started up one called Dog Day. It was never very big, but I actually went with him to a couple of houses, and he would, like, if someone signed up with his service, he would come over and help them, like, install their modem and everything and get it up and running. Yeah. Very strange. Even as I'm just thinking about it right now, it's amazing to me that my dad was that, forward thinking and into it.
Tech savvy.
And that's the thing, is he wasn't tech savvy outside of that one area, I suppose.
Yeah.
And man, even 10 years after the company had failed, he still had a couple people using his domain for their email, like Bob Ross at dogday.net or whatever it was, And yeah, that was crazy. So we didn't ever have AOL because he had his own, and we had to try and use that.
Did you ever use like the AOL chat rooms and stuff?
Oh yeah, I used to love AOL and like Instant Messenger and all that.
Dude, it's just talking shit. It used to be just like a place to talk shit to anybody. I used to do that, and then there's this one time I thought about this to tell a story. It's always around when I'm like 13 to 15, dude. That's what I did, like the weirdest shit.
That's when all of your life happened.
Yeah, that's when it peaked, dude. That was the only time.
You peaked.
I peaked. I would AOL. I met like this chick on the Instant Messenger in one of the chat rooms, and we exchanged phone numbers and we talked for a while. But then like she always wanted to have phone sex, and
oh no, that's terrible.
Phone sex well, it's awkward for me even to this day. I've only done it a couple of times because like isn't it just like awkward? Be like, are you touching yourself? What do you want me to do now?
I have trouble sometimes even doing that over text.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I understand that.
But so, and then back then it was always easier. She sent one of those photos, which you knew was fake. It was like some hot chick with like fake breast, like in a pool. I kind of remember.
Yeah.
She said her name was like Emily, which I don't even know if that's true either.
Emily.
But we were around the same age, and then we would talk, and then she'd be like, "You want to have fun?" I'm like, "All right." So then it was just me listening to what she was doing, and then maybe I'd throw in some like groans, like, "Oh yeah," or like,
that feels so good.
Yeah, and then my best friend came up and lived with me in Washington from Arizona, and then he'd get on the action too, So
like with you, like not cross country skiing,
not like a 3-way on the phone, but like he would talk to her and have phone sex with her.
With the same girl?
Yeah.
And then did you and him call each other and do it too?
No, he lived with me, so we would just have to jack each other off. That was,
okay. Did she know that she was talking to your buddy and not you?
Yeah. It's funny because his name was Nick too, so it'd always be like Nick 1 or Nick number 2. That's how we always went by with our friends and stuff. Yeah.
Wow. So you guys basically shared a girl without ever actually meeting her?
Yeah, she said she was going to come up one time. We lived in Arlington at the time, and yeah, she never showed up.
That's not surprising. She
Right?
was probably worried what you'd say when she showed up and
Well,
you saw that she was a 48-year-old man.
Or a fucking 500-pound woman, I don't, so.
Wait. Did she have a really cute voice or a hot voice?
She had like a cute voice, but.
That means that, yeah, she's probably gross.
So like, yeah. So then if she had like a man, you're like, oh no, she was probably like some dime piece from, Tacoma. I don't know. Who
Tacoma?
knows? Yeah.
To Compton?
Yeah.
It's funny how it's like usually when a guy has a voice that women consider sexy, he's also considered sexy. But I've noticed that there's like an inverse when it comes to a lot of women that I've met, where it's like if you've never met a girl but you hear her voice a couple times and you're like, man, she sounds really cute.
Yeah.
Almost every time I've then ended up meeting her or seeing a picture, it's like,
ugh, she's got a mustache. She's got a mole with the hair.
Yeah. And I don't like to be super judgmental or anything, but like it's something that seems to be true in my experience,
Yeah, same with the typical, just like it's just face shots, nothing else. Then
Yeah.
There's going to be something bad coming after when you try to meet up like in a coffee or a restaurant.
Have you ever had any bad like first date meetups or anything? Because I've got a good one.
I've done plentyoffish.com back in the day, and then I think I tried another one, and I met a few of them, and I always had like backup plans. I had my buddy like call me, say there's an emergency, right? So I had to use one of those, and then there was one I finally met. She was she was pretty hot, and she had fake boobs, so I finally got to like touch those for her first time.
Oh, nice.
But we never like did anything further than that. And she had a kid, and the father would be in the army, but he was home. And then one night I met her. I think it was like the first or second time we met. I went over to her house, and we were like just talking, and I stayed the night over there. And the morning comes, there's a knock on the door, and it's the fucking dad. I'm like, fuck, really? Mom, this is nothing happened. He left, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I don't like this online bullshit.
Mine it goes back a couple years before there was any kind of dating services online.
Yeah.
And actually, I'll just tell the one. This one didn't actually use online at all, but it was a friend of a friend kind of thing. A buddy from work set me up with this girl, and they had gone to school together. And when I worked with them, they were maybe a year out of high school. So it's somewhat recently, but it had still been like a year or so.
So you were out of high school then?
Yeah, I was out of high school. He was out of high school. We were the same age. And so he gives me her number, and he showed me a picture of her. I was like, oh, yeah, she's hot. Cool. I'll
like
give her
the
a call.
face or like body?
It was the whole thing, but it was definitely not current.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah.
So I called her, and we had a good little 15, 20-minute conversation, and we made a plan to go out. And originally I was planning to meet her there. We were just going to Olive Garden because I was a 19-year-old kid.
Typical Italian.
Well, back then, that was the height of luxury.
That was like the romantic dinner right there.
Yeah, that was putting out some effort.
Yeah.
And so we'd made a plan. We were going to meet there, and then she called me like 2 days before the date and said, is there any chance you could pick me up? My Mercedes is going to be in the shop. Or
Mercedes?
It is in the shop.
Good sign. Good sign.
She was very, very... She made a point to let me know it was a Mercedes.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool.
1982 Mercedes.
So she gives me directions, and I drive out there and pick her up in Lake Stevens. And as I'm following these directions, I pull into like this trailer park, and then I pull up to a house. So I'm in a trailer park, and I'm thinking, who the fuck has a Mercedes if they live in a trailer park? And so I went up to the door, and I thought that, that was her own place. And I knock, and her dad comes and answers the door, looking every bit like every guy you've ever seen on Cops.
Oh, no
like
shit.
Wife beater with stains on it, messy
You here
hair,
to pick up my daughter?
lit cigarette in his mouth, smoking indoors.
Did he have like one of those like racist flags in front of the house?
I don't remember seeing any Confederate flags or anything. But I was instantly kind of uncomfortable. And then I go in, and she calls me back to where her room is. I go back there, and I thought I got the wrong room because she was a lot bigger than what I thought. And that's okay. I've had girlfriends that were, bigger. I'm not super shallow, but fuck you. But I don't like feeling like I was misrepresented. And she had told me a lot of things that made it sound like she was athletic and stuff on the phone. So I felt like it wasn't fully honest, but I was like, I'm already here, and we made this plan. Let's go. Maybe there's something better laying underneath.
Give you props for that.
Yeah. So we get in my truck, and we're driving from Lake Stevens to the Everett Olive Garden, and the entire car ride, she is bitching to me about her quote-unquote ex-boyfriend who played for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
No way.
Yeah. And she made it sound like they broke up like a month ago. This girl who lives in a trailer park in BFE, Washington.
Like maybe they worked together in high school, and then he became a fucking...
I didn't ask. I really didn't want to perpetuate the conversation, and I realized I hadn't even been participating because she was just monologuing the whole time. And so I'm getting annoyed, it's whatever. And I'm like, we get to the restaurant, I'm just thinking, okay, get your table, get some food.
Yeah.
Get out of here. All we had planned is the dinner. I didn't have to take her anywhere afterwards. There is no real plan for that. So we get to dinner, and, I'm thinking, okay, I've got like $100 on me. I
Which
hope I
is
don't
good
have to
enough
spend
for
it.
Olive Garden.
It is,
Yeah.
especially when you can't drink.
Unless you want to get extra Alfredo sauce for the breadsticks, then you're screwed.
Yeah. But actually, you know what? This long ago, it might have been $50 because I think back then a dinner at Olive Garden was closer to like 10. So it would have
Yeah.
been like 2001, 2002.
Now it's like $20.
Yeah. And God, even more than that for most of them. So anyway, but I definitely had enough for two people to have a good dinner because neither of us could drink, so you didn't have to have extra money for booze or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we get there, and I start trying to participate in the conversation because I'm tired of her just, running on about her ex-boyfriend the whole time. And so we're about to order, and she starts treating the waiter really rude. Like she looks around, and he was obviously walking to a different table with something, and she like grabbed his arm and was like, "Hey, can you help us?" And I was
this before you guys ordered anything? Or
yeah.
okay.
We hadn't even been like greeted yet.
Yeah.
But we had only been sitting down for a minute or two. There was no reason to like get up in his face. And he was like, let me go drop this off and then I'll come and help you guys. And he didn't even end up being our server. So like she really put this guy out. And so we start to order, and she orders 2 large dinners.
No.
And like an extra couple things, and then found the only non-refillable non-alcoholic beverage on the menu, and she must have had 4 or 5 of them throughout dinner. And I'm mentally trying to do all the math for all the shit she's ordering, and by this point I was so over the whole thing. I was like, fuck it. So I ordered something a lot nicer and more expensive than what I expected, and
Was it the little Italy platter with chicken parmesan and some lasagna?
I don't remember. This was 17 years ago.
Extra jizz on the side.
And so like dinner comes, and basically this whole time she's still talking constantly. Every time I try to talk, she'll interrupt me, and all she wants to do is, she had moved on from talking about her one ex-boyfriend to bitching about all men on a date with a guy who's paying for your food and everything. So I had enough. I order my dinner, and I eat really quick, and she somehow still beat me, even though she had to eat twice as much. And so I'd had enough, and so I excused myself to the bathroom and walked right out of the restaurant into my truck and drove away.
You left her?
I left her there. I totally did.
Now, did you have cell phones then?
No.
No. You did
I
not
ended up
have cell
stopping at
phones.
a payphone about a mile down the road and calling my buddy who had set the whole thing up. He's like, dude, what the fuck were you thinking? Have you seen this girl in the last year? She is a complete self-centered bitch who lied to me about all this shit. And he started asking me what, and I told him about the Mercedes and the ex-boyfriend and all this stuff, and he's just cracking
Oh, wait a minute.
up.
So was there no, like, Mercedes in the driveway?
No.
Really?
Really?
What a fucking...
Well, she had said that it was going to be in the shop, which is
Oh.
why I had to pick her up.
That's like saying I have a badass car in the shop. I'm just getting a footprint pedal
Exactly,
in there.
exactly.
Yeah.
There was,
Yeah.
because she didn't just say it was like an 82 or anything like that. She's like, oh, I got a new Mercedes last year, but it needs a service or whatever.
Right.
She didn't even have a job. There was no way she had a nice Mercedes.
There's been a few people like that, like at my work or growing up. I can't stand to be around people where they always want to try to like one up you with stories or try to be better with you, or like they're just lying bullshit just to try to look cool.
Yeah.
I've always been like standoffish or just never like kept myself around those type of people.
They're hard to deal with, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Like, you get tired of, and it's the same whenever you have to complain about something and someone's like, oh, you think that's bad or whatever. It's like, dude, I'm not trying to compare my problems to yours. I just wanted to vent mine without you trying to like invalidate it by bitching about whatever is going on worse in your life.
Yeah, better yet, dude. I went to Olive Garden, but it was way better than Olive Garden. It was
Okay.
this other fancy place that was probably way better than when you went, and I probably had a hotter girl, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had way more money. I didn't have to worry about counting money, and I had a fucking 1995 Mercedes Benz, right? And that's it. I was just trying to,
Oh, you were trying to story top me?
yeah.
Or there's the people who go the other route and they're like, oh yeah, well this one time I went on this first date and this girl literally cut my arm off, or like just
She literally sucked my dick at the dinner table. She went underneath. Fucking. Dude, have you ever had roadhead?
Yeah.
Is it awkward?
No.
It's not awkward?
I mean, there's an element where you're like, when it's happening, especially if you don't have tinted windows, like if you're going to do it, have tinted windows. It makes it a lot easier. But like if you don't and you're just like, oh, fuck it, let's have some fun, then all you're doing is you're constantly like looking around to see, if anyone's looking in your car.
Have you ever had roadhead and finger banging her at the same time while driving?
No, I don't. No.
Ah!
Well, the thing is, I normally drive a stick shift, so that's usually not on the menu. But tell me about yours.
I think I had my truck at the time. It's just, she gives you head and maybe my arms are just like long enough and I was able to go like from the behind over here. You know what I mean? So her ass
all the way around her body?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I've always, I try to stay under the minimum like 150 weight and under,
That's not what I meant. Anyone, if she's giving you roadhead while you're driving, to reach your hand all the way around her, like, why wouldn't you just go directly?
Like, well, because she's kind of like on her fours, right? You see what I'm saying?
Oh, she had gotten up out of her seat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Way to sound shallow, by the way.
I'm just kidding. All women are beautiful in every way.
And for anyone who is kind of upset that I totally ditched that girl there with the check, I'm sorry. Well, I was a 19-year-old kid who was pissed off and didn't know what to do.
It's not only that, okay? When you meet a girl for the first time, she's not supposed to order 2 fucking plates.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have like a middle ground of being like, I'm just going to order this much, not try to be like one of those food gold diggers that try to order the whole menu.
Right.
Yeah.
But the problem is that when you pick up a girl who, probably weighs 200 and is, about 5'5", you can't then turn to her and say, hey, so, can you make sure you stick to only one dinner because I only have $50 on me? And they'd be like, you wouldn't be saying that if I was skinny. And you're like, yeah, you're probably right.
Fucking dude. So I saw Spider-Man last night.
No.
I'm just going to say that you're going to go see Spider-Man today, and are you excited about that?
Yeah, right after this show, I'm meeting up with my brother Jake, and we're going to catch Spider-Man.
Now, do you have a theory of how it might be? Like,
yes.
Do you think it's going to be before the Avengers Endgame or after?
Well, I know that a good chunk of it takes place after, and this is technically the true end to the whole MCU storyline that they've done so far.
Yeah.
My theory, because Mysterio comes in the previews and he claims he's from another dimension, I have a feeling that's bullshit. And that he's not a hero, he's actually a bad guy, and he's probably like the character in the comics who's like a kind of a shyster and what's the word I'm looking for?
Fucking like the Riddler? I don't know.
Not like the Riddler, but he's a guy who will like
he's
lie.
like a chameleon.
Kind of like a chameleon,
yeah.
But he'll also lie, and he has a lot of like tricks that he can use to make it look like he has powers and shit.
Yeah.
So I think that he's just going to end up being the bad guy from this dimension who is trying to trick Spider-Man, and that's why he's helping him like fight those other bad guys at first or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. But
yeah, it's really good. I'm not going to give you anything.
Thank God.
I just wanted to tell you I felt like it was like one of the best Spider-Mans. You know what I mean?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want to come into it with any expectations because the previews had me pretty amped up, but I don't know. At this point, I'm ready for Marvel to kind of wrap that up and maybe give us a year or two before we have to see a bunch more.
It's gonna suck watching new Marvel movies because we're so used to, Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson and whoever else playing all the ones that we're used to. So it's gonna be hard to adjust how.
Well, and some of them will carry over. Not the original guys very much. Like we're getting a Natasha Romanoff movie. And they still have the Hulk and Thor alive to go moving forward. Like, Thor will probably be in the next Guardians of the Galaxy, I bet.
Like, I wish they would have did, like, a Deadpool and Wolverine movie,
Yeah. Well, now they could because Marvel owns them all.
Well, right, but that last movie, Logan was like they can make any Marvel comic book movie and start it anywhere if they wanted to, even though Logan died in that movie.
Yeah, but he's not playing Wolverine anymore either.
So that's
and
what
those movies weren't connected to this universe.
Yeah, I'm just saying because he always Ryan Reynolds would always make fun of what's his name, the actor
Hugh Jackman.
He would always make fun of him, so it would have been great and funny to have them both in the same movie before you wanted to.
I know. I would have loved that. And speaking of, it's been a while since we've mentioned this, but Ryan Reynolds, if you ever catch this, we still definitely want to have you on our show.
Yeah, hey guys, check this out. It's not totally 100%, but I wanted to bring it up with the whole Adam Ray thing.
I don't want to bring that up yet.
You don't want to bring it up?
Not until we have something to actually say.
Well, I was just going to say it's a possibility
all right,
from like a year from now or months or weeks. We don't know.
At some point in the future, Adam Ray has told both of us online that he would be down to come and do the show.
Yeah, so it would be technically like our first actual celebrity guest.
Yeah, let me go ahead and read off a couple of the things he's done on his IMDb page.
Yeah, you do that. He said for sure, but he lives in LA and he came up here last week to do like a quick stand-up comedy up at Tony V's.
He was the headliner last week when we did the show.
Fucking hilarious, and he's best friends with that midget Brad Williams guy. I can say that because we're friends. No.
Hey, that's Adam's joke. I think he told that verbatim.
We sent him links to our stuff, and he said for sure the next time he's up here. So yeah. I gave him my contact info. So hopefully, whenever he comes back up here, because he's from Seattle. So hopefully it happens, but we don't know when. It could be years from now, or if he'll even want to. But
he could have just been being nice or whatever. Yeah. But as Nick pointed out, he didn't have to reply.
He didn't have to respond if he was like, "Nah, fuck these guys. I don't even know them."
Yeah. So there's a good chance that we might have our first like quote unquote celebrity guest lined up sometime in the near future. And some of the stuff he's done, like they told us at Comedy Night that he had been in a couple things like Curb and like the Adam Carolla show and stuff. But I checked out his IMDb, and he's also in like The Heat, the 2013 remake.
Yeah.
Red 2, Spy, the one with Tyler Perry, Ghostbusters.
Yep, the new one, the chick one.
Yep, the female-led Ghostbusters. He was in Arrested Development. He does a voice on Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
So this is a guy who has done a lot of stuff that I really respect. And
plus he's a really fucking funny stand-up comedian.
So good.
It would just be awesome to have him here and like ask all these funny questions or see how badly he talks shit back to us, because that's his career.
Yeah, and it's not like we'd be interviewing him because we don't really do interviews. We just bring them in on the conversation.
Well, if he was here, I'd be like, so have you ever seen Brad Williams' dick? Is it really small?
And then when he asks me if I've ever seen yours and is it small?
I'd be like, dude, it's fucking...
It's like an elephant.
Yeah. The fucking miniature baby one.
Tusks and all. He doesn't have two balls. He just has two little tusks on each side of his...
if that actually, like, would happen, like, that's, like, the payoff of kind of, like, working and starting from the bottom and doing this and finally upgrading all of our shit and still adding as we're going.
Uh-huh.
Is getting to that point where, we would have, like, some type of recognition to be able to, like, be like, hey, celebrity, you want to come do this?
Yeah, that's ultimately the goal. But also, what I like about how we've been doing the show is that we don't just have guests on. Like, one thing about Joe Rogan's show, which is great, and it's kind of the gold standard for podcasts right now, it's just that he has to have a guest every week. He doesn't just have, like, another co-host that he can interact with without guests.
Yeah, he did that in the beginning, didn't he? Wasn't it kind of just him for a little bit? And that guy that ran the computer stuff?
I think his name's either Jamie or Jesse.
I think it's Jamie.
Yeah, that's my sister's name, too.
You have a sister?
Yeah. She's my only sibling who is married, and she has 4 kids, and they live in Ohio.
Dude.
Right outside of Amish country, actually.
You know what I was thinking?
Yeah.
Like, I'm 31 now, okay?
Uh-huh.
I don't like dating anybody younger than me. I never have. It's always been, like, my same age or older.
Yeah.
It's just my preference for some reason. Always has been.
Okay.
But I was thinking the other day, now that I'm single, my age limit, I think I'm going to have to, like, no matter which girl I want to, like, date or meet, I feel like they're always going to have kids because I'm stuck in that, like, prime 30s age now.
Oh, yeah. And in this area, you don't run across single people our age of either gender that either don't have an ex-wife or husband or don't
Yeah.
have kids or an STD or something. You know what I mean? Like if you're like my age, you know, I'm 35, almost 36, never been married, no kids, no STDs, and like, you know, have a
There's no
job,
STDs.
not living with the folks. That is so rare in this state that I can only think of maybe 2 or 3 other people out of the 400 on my Facebook who would fit the same criteria.
Yeah,
It's insane.
We have like a weird generation, you know?
Yeah.
Because like I've met girls in the past who are like, oh yeah, I had to move out. I had to go stay with my parents' house for a while. It's like, what is our generation like gonna be like? You know, not ours, but like the next one up.
Yeah, since people our age, I mean, plenty of people our age do own homes and stuff like that,
Well,
but
it's
at the
the
same time,
fucking-
a lot of them don't.
It's the economy these days too, because I'm trying to fucking find just like a studio fucking apartment just to have something cheap so I can try to buy a house later.
Mm-hmm.
And for like a 500, 600 square foot house, it's like $1,300 or more.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
But the crazy thing to think about for that is, you know, like by the time our generation's kids are our age, they're not going to be able to go and stay with their parents in their house because we're all going to be living in these little shitty apartments.
Yeah, it's like I read an article saying, you know, I think it's Amazon, you know, they're building another fucking tri-level fucking building, and it's making all these people want to move up here, and it's fucking raising up the rent everywhere you want to go.
Yeah.
I think, you know, Western Washington should have some type of law now about fucking like renting, you know, laws. You know, fucking
Like rent
500
control and shit.
Yeah, like a 500 square foot fucking studio apartment shouldn't be $1,500 a month, dude.
Yeah.
It's fucking horrible. I don't know how people live here with like minimum wage. You have to have like 5 roommates or something.
Pretty much. And that gets into a really tricky topic too, because a lot of people go, okay, well, why don't we just raise the minimum wage?
Well,
there's
that just raises everything else up. You can't do that.
There's plenty of economic reasons why just doing that doesn't work, because it's just going to cause more inflation. And Washington's already caught in kind of a inflation spiral already. So then people go, okay, well, if you can't survive by yourself on minimum wage, then get a better job. And I agree with that. On the one hand, you know, like to make more money, you should have more skills and stuff like that. But at the same time, I've kind of come around in the last year or two to thinking that, well, if we do raise the minimum wage to the point where it should allow you to rent an apartment by yourself, it's not going to hurt the people who already have better jobs.
Yeah, no, it makes it easier for them to do what they wanted, I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like Western Washington over here is making it to where it's just like rich people and then kicking out all the, you know, like poor middle class like us.
Which is funny because you work at Boeing, a place where
Yeah,
so
it
many
doesn't-
people in this area work and make good money.
I know like a lot of people. There's people that I know that work there that are like totally fine because maybe like their wife has a good job too. But then there's I know people that fucking struggle still working at Boeing, working all the overtime they can get.
Yeah, and that's what surprises me.
Yeah.
Like that I've never been great with my money and stuff like that, but I feel like once you're in a job like that, and if you're making that kind of money consistently and you can get that kind of overtime, there's not really an excuse to be broke.
Yeah.
There just isn't.
That's like a up and down fall when it comes because people when you say Boeing they're like, oh well, why are you fucking broke? But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just like with my situation, you know, I have child support and then I had to have bankruptcy. So it's like half of my paycheck's like already like gone when I get it.
Right.
Because like all this shit comes out of it. And then you make more, if you claim 0, more taxes come out.
Yeah.
So like when I try to work a bunch of overtime and then I see my check, I'm like, what the fuck do I work all this shit for?
Right.
It pisses me off.
Yeah, and plus when you work a bunch of OT, you get taxed heavier and stuff like that.
Yeah. Fucking thanks a lot, Reagan. No, I don't know.
Well, and the other thing is, like, I had to kind of realize that I was thinking about people in those jobs unfairly. My thinking was, okay, if you make X amount of money per hour or per year, and you're still broke, like you've got to be a drug addict or maybe a gambling addict, or you're just terrible with money, whatever
If
it
you're
is.
a drug addict, you fucking lose everything.
Yeah, but it feels like it would require there to be some kind of a reason that all your money was gone all the time, because I'm thinking once you have a job that is that well set up and pays well, you should be fine.
Yeah.
And that's just not fair to put on people, because someone could just have some bad luck, or maybe they're going through a divorce and they have to pay that kind of child support. So it's funny when you realize that you're unfairly projecting some kind of a standard on people that they would never be able to live up to, purely because it's what kind of makes sense in your head.
And I've always like, because people would always come to me and compare, be like, oh, well, this person works at Boeing, they got this big of house, blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
Look at his
But
boat.
I'm thinking, like, well, you don't really fucking know. They could just say that, but deep down, they could be having fucking money problems, and you don't even know. They can still have all these things, but they're like, oh, shit, I got to sell this. I mean, people don't tell, like, their backstory or the shit that's going on with them.
And that's what I feel is wrong with things like Facebook also. Because Facebook, you mostly have two different kinds of people. You've got the people who only post things from like when they're out with friends or on vacation or having fun and doing good things. And then you've got people who all they do is bitch.
Yeah.
And neither one really accurately represents a complete person. You know, if you're the type who goes on there and only bitches on Facebook, it doesn't mean that's all you do in person either. Maybe that's where you feel most comfortable venting at all, and you bottle it up all day.
Yeah.
Likewise, if you only take pictures when you're out at the bar getting smashed with your broskies on mega bombs, that may not take into account the stuff that's going wrong in your life too. So you get these unfair perceptions of people who seem like they're having these amazing lives. Meanwhile, they might be, you know, drowning in debt or have, you know, a family member in the hospital or whatever else. So it's like you really got to take care with how you view people based on what they present to you.
Yeah, you know, like this last recently breakup, she always wanted one of those stupid fucking Kirby vacuums, right? Like, she'd always wanted it, like, throughout her life, okay? Stupid.
I have a story about those, by the way,
So,
but you go ahead.
Fucking salesman comes to the door at her house and fucking, all right, come in, come show us, because it's like a shampooer and shit as well in one. It's a nice fancy one.
Out of curiosity, what time of day did he show up at your house?
There was a chick that came by around like 2 first.
Yeah.
But then I said, oh, well, you know, the owner's not here. Come back when she gets off work around 5. So then they came back like around 5:30.
Okay.
But anyways, they did this whole thing, and the vacuum like looked like it kicked ass. It came with all these things, but they can range from like $800 to fucking like $3,000.
Yep.
Okay. So anyways, since I'm a nice guy, I bought her the fucking vacuum because it's the vacuum she's always wanted throughout her life. And then later, she doesn't like the fucking vacuum, and guess who has the vacuum?
Yeah.
I have the vacuum.
And you know what? Buying a $3,000 vacuum for someone, even if they want it, that doesn't make you the nice guy. That makes you a fucking idiot.
Well, I guess, you know, I have the vacuum now, so, you know.
Yeah, and what do you do with it?
Fucking vacuum every 6 months.
Exactly. So when I was 19, I was desperately trying to find a new job, and I came across this posting on Craigslist for... Actually, it wasn't even Craigslist. This would have been before that. It was in the newspaper. God damn. Yeah, this was in the newspaper. The Nickel, I think. Little Nickel. That's the one that used to go around here.
Oh, I remember
like
those.
yeah,
it's like
it
the
was-
free paper, right? That people want to put ads in for people to see.
Yeah, it was like a community version of Craigslist
Yeah.
before the internet was that big. That's what it was. They had this very vague posting about needing someone for a customer service job. So I go down to this building in Everett, no signage on it, and I have this interview, and they hire me, and I'm like, oh, sweet. You know, I'm going to be working, you know, maybe at the desk where this lady was when I walked in, and you know, like reception or something.
So it was kind of like an actual business building type.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But I only saw the very front of it. You know, you don't see what's behind any of that. So I come to my first day of training, and there's like 20 other people there.
No.
And we all go back to this classroom, and that's when they drop the bomb on us that this isn't a customer service job at a legit like building. You are a Kirby fucking salesman, and the next 3 days you're gonna get paid to be trained on how to sell these things. And so,
Did you go through with the training?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I was already there, and I figured, hey, I'll get paid for 3 days, and if I don't like it, I'll be out. But in case I do like it or I'm any good at it, I don't want to ruin the opportunity before I've heard it out. And so the first day we go through training, and it's kind of awkward and all that, but there was nothing super bad about it. Day 2, it took a turn. They started day 2 of the training by teaching us a fucking song.
Really?
And I still remember part of it, and it was, it started off like, hey, the gang's all here. Do we sell the Kirby? Yes, we sell the Kirby. Something, something, something. So that's the type of stupid little chant song that they made us sing every morning on day 2, day 3, and would have been doing if I stayed, as an employee. They would make you do it every day.
So were they having you, did they want you to do that when you're selling?
No, it's a way that they want to get you pumped up for what you're going to do.
Well, I tell you what, though, just that guy knew every little fucking thing about the Kirby, okay? So I guess the training does pay off.
It does, because they, aside from that song, what they do is they spend a lot of time taking you through all the aspects of the vacuum, and there was some genuinely interesting things about them, and I genuinely feel like it's a pretty solid product. But what really started to get to me was, at one point, they were talking about the expectations for salesmen, and they said, okay, per day, you need to get in 3 demos. Like, not just knocking on a door and talking to 3
just showing
people.
the product. Okay,
you have to get into the house and show the product 3 times a day. That's your goal. And so I then raised my hand. I was like, so what if, like, at the end of our shift, if we haven't done those 3 appointments yet? And they're like, no, you do 3 a day. And I was like, well, yeah, but what's the cutoff point, at night? Is it like 8 o'clock or like, what is it? And they're like, no, you do 3 a day. And so that's when my mind started to go, whoa. And I go, okay, so like, what, at 1 a.m. you want us to knock on people's doors? And they're like, if that's what it takes to get your 3 a day. I was like, are you fucking serious? I'm not knocking on anyone's door at 1 a.m. unless I'm missing a goddamn foot.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Do they pay you based off the demo still? Like,
yeah. You get
how do you
paid
make
off the
money?
Demos. They claim that there's a base salary plus commission, but if you don't do your 3 demos a day, you're not getting paid shit. And they check in on this is how they
how do you know if you're doing the demos or not?
Because when you get to a house and you get in and you start the demo, you have to call your office and say, all right, I'm starting the demo. And then, or no, what you say is, hey, this is Jesse, and I'd like an entry into the prize pool or something like that, because they have these drawings for vacations.
That's
and
what
other
they
shit.
told us. Yeah,
They're trying to make it sound like it's something exciting. And so then you do your demo, and they require you to then like talk to them about price. And if they can't pay for it, then you're supposed to call, and you're supposed to try and get them on the phone with your boss and stuff.
Yep.
So
that's exactly the same fucking thing that happened.
Yeah, it's insane.
Maybe it's still the same training.
It must be. And so I get through the 3rd day, and at that point they tell everyone to bring one home, and they want you to do 3 practice demos over the weekend. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll try, And so I had a girlfriend at the time, and I was like, hey, can I come over just to do one of these demos? I don't know if I want to keep this job, but just in case I want to do my work. She was like, yeah, cool. So I go over there, and I didn't do the full demo as they would want you to do it to a customer, but I did show her all the features and everything, and, just practiced. And so even during your practice ones, you're supposed to call and say,
I'm doing a practice run?
No, you say it as if you're doing the real thing.
Oh, gotcha.
And then I get through the whole spiel, and they tell you that you have to then ask afterwards, like, so would you like to purchase one? And you have to, make that turn. And so at that point I called them, and I was like, hey guys, so I have finished my demo with my girlfriend, so just letting you know I'm going to get out of here. And they're like, well, does she want to buy one? And I was like, well, no. And they're like, well, then you must not have done the demo right. And I was like, no, I did the demo right, but I was just showing my girlfriend because this is practice. And they're like, no, we want you to sell her one. And I was like,
that's crazy, man.
Yeah. And that was the last straw for me. And I was like, actually, you know what? Can someone meet me at the office? I want to drop this vacuum back off with you guys. This isn't going to work for me. Like, that much pressure on what was supposed to be a practice demo with someone you know, who was my age, who had just as little money as I
Yeah.
did, you know. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Well, just imagine about, you know, they do those to fucking people at fucking homes every single day, every
Yeah.
hour. That pressure to be like, oh, just get the fuck out of my house, dude.
Yeah.
His demo was going to be like 2 hours long, right?
Right.
But I was just thinking, okay, she's always wanted this vacuum. I'll just say, fucking, let's just get it. So I stopped. I'm like, dude, let's just see if we can get the vacuum. I'm all just no more, okay?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
fucking-
Stop with the demo. I don't care. We're already going to buy it. And
Yeah.
it had nothing to do with your salesmanship skills, by the way. But yeah, she already wanted one. You just lucked out in getting at the right house.
Yep. Fucking Kirby.
Yeah, and
It's scary
it
to
felt
have.
so lied to, and just like it was every step of the way, they were just so dishonest
It's
about
really
it.
risky to do that anymore because, you know, people don't do door salesmen, and then people who actually like maybe are doing it for reals.
Yeah.
All I ever see is like, oh, someone wanted to sell me, you know, fucking a dish today. It's probably people scoping out the houses. Be careful.
Yeah,
It's
and-
always thinking about somebody's robbing somebody, which it could be, but
Yeah, I mean, today you never know what kind of weirdo is going to be at your door, but there's also the mental kind of stigma that goes with it, to where if someone knocks on my door trying to sell me anything, even if it's exactly what I want, I pretty much tell them no on principle.
yeah.
You know, I just don't like that invasive behavior. If you want to, you know, put out a survey and I respond to it and say, hey, you know, send someone around and, you know, I'll check it out, I would be fine with that. And as a salesman, I would have stayed with Kirby and at least tried if they set up appointments first and then you go and you do it.
Not so
You know,
fucking abrasive.
Yeah,
man.
if you have to knock on the door with the vacuum that's heavy,
Mm-hmm.
you're carrying it around with you. You have to knock on the door.
Those things are heavy.
Fuck
But,
yeah, they
yeah.
are. They're like what? Cast iron and
Yep.
fucking steel and plutonium and
Tell
shit.
you what though, dude, that thing fucking picks up everything.
How dirty was all your shit when you started looking through the filters?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I don't know if they still had it when you did it, but they have like these little like filter rings.
The white filters?
Yeah, yeah. Everything was fucking dirty. It was
Right?
gross,
It
dude.
looks terrible.
Yeah,
And that does mean that it most likely works, but at the same time, we were getting by just fine for 100 years on the old style vacuum cleaners, you know?
hey man, I'll have a vacuum for like 50 years from now. So you know,
And you'll use it 3 times.
probably until I die, I'll just give it off to you know.
Ooh, your Kirby's going to be a hand-me-down?
Yeah, it's gonna be a hand-me-down. And then when you were saying about how people only bitch on Facebook, one thing I've been noticing is, like on the Snohomish County, like fucking where they like, oh, I reported this. They report like something's happening.
Yeah.
I've been seeing lately people take pictures of like a car and be like, watch out, this person's swerving or riding people's asses.
Ugh.
I'm like,
Meanwhile, you're
fucking
using
really.
your phone camera
yeah.
while you're driving.
I keep hoping like one of these days it's gonna be a picture of my rear end, and then I want to fuck with them in the comment board and be like, haha, that's what you get, sucker, or something, you know, or like who
Quit
even
staring at my ass.
who like the people that are like on the other end of that could be like on the comment board like, what, really, where at, when this happened?
Let me go find this asshole.
Yeah.
And plus, it's kind of messed up to post pictures on Facebook of someone with their license plate on it. Like,
Yeah.
unless you've committed a crime, that's not cool at all.
Fucking driving is getting a lot worse for me, dude. Not like myself, but just other drivers around me.
Yeah.
I get so irritated anymore.
Yeah.
It's bad. Like I had to
How?
go to the airport this morning. Okay,
Yeah.
I went to merge into the load unload spot, and then some stupid fucking Habib, fucking there's no room. There's no fucking room to come in here, right? So then he pulls in like this, blocks me, and I can't get out because he couldn't fully get in there. He was just being a dick and just parked right there. So
Wow.
I had to wait for the 2 fat ass chicks to come to the car because I think it was an Uber or taxi, and it took like 5 minutes to put in their fucking luggage and get their fat asses in the car, and then he finally be able to lift. And then when I was about to go, there was a fucking Asian lady trying to do the same thing. I'm like, fuck no, and I fucking block her and I got out of there.
Were the races really required?
Yeah,
for that
it was
story?
really required because I'm tired of this fucking bullshit.
I mean, I suppose when it comes to driving, it's still, I mean, there's some stereotypes that just do hold weight. And whenever I encounter a bad driver on the road or I get cut off or something, the first thing I think of is what race and like age I believe this person is. And so, you know, depending on the crime, it'll be like, oh, that's an old Asian woman.
Yeah.
Or, oh, that's a young black man. Or, oh,
Or
that's
it's
an idiot white guy.
Or it's a new fucking teenager driver. Everybody
Yeah.
fucking does it, and most of the time you're like maybe like 60% right.
Yeah, and I feel like the longer you spend driving, the more you start to realize that different groups of people make mistakes in the same kinds of ways.
Yeah, just like the people that are just like think they own the whole fucking freeway, or they'll just go like, this is how I look at driving, okay? You have the fast lane, which is going like at least 5 or 10 miles over the speed limit.
You're talking on the freeway, right?
The freeway.
Okay.
Okay. You got the middle lane, which is you're either going like 60 or 5 miles over the speed limit. And then you got the slow lane where you can go like 50 or below, because that's the only spot you can go.
Yeah.
I hate the people that are just like typical 60 speed limit and all the way in the fast lane, and then too arrogant to fucking merge over because they don't want to. And then you have to fucking and get right in front of them just barely to show them who's boss so they can get the fuck out of the way.
Well, and I think that at least in this state, I remember seeing some kind of proposed legislation a while back that was supposed to make it so that it was more illegal to clog up the speeding lane, you know? So what it's supposed to be is that the right lane is supposed to be to get on and off the freeway. And once you're on it, you're supposed to then merge at least into the middle lane. The middle lane's the travel lane, and that's the one where you could technically even go a little bit slower if you wanted to. It's supposed to be acceptable to go slower. And then the left lane is supposed to be for passing.
Yeah.
So in a perfect world where it's not very busy and you're able to use the lanes as necessary, you'd get on in the right lane, immediately merge to the left when you were able to, right? So you're in the middle lane. Then if you were behind someone slow, you'd merge into the fast lane, and then when you passed them, you'd go back.
Right.
That's how it's all supposed to work. But so many times have you ever been behind it on a 3-lane highway going one direction where all three people in front of you are going the exact same speed?
Yeah, and then
it's fucking aggravating.
And then either there's people going the same exact speed on the right-hand side, or so you're like stuck behind.
Yeah, there's no way around it. And you're looking at these people, and you're like, you guys know damn well you are pacing each other and not letting anyone around. How fucking narcissistic are you that this is something that you think is not only acceptable, but you're just cruising and maybe don't even notice all the people stacked up behind you, flipping you off, screaming at you over their own music in their car, and all the kids going, Mommy, I thought Daddy wasn't supposed to be able to say that word in the house. Daddy goes, shut the fuck up, we're not in the house. And this has, you know what I like? It's so aggravating. Because it's just this level of entitled narcissism that makes you just go, I don't care how this affects anyone else around me. I'm doing my thing.
I used to be that way maybe a few years ago, but now like if I'm in the fast lane and I see somebody coming up behind me, like I know they're going faster than me, I'll merge over really quick.
Yeah.
And then I'll get back over when they're gone. And
I have no problem doing that.
Yeah.
Because just because I don't want to go 15 over and risk getting a ticket doesn't mean I want to stop the guy behind me, from doing it. If anything, if I let him by and I see him take off, I'm kind of hoping I see him a few miles down the road pulled over. You know?
And then I hate the ones where like there's a 4-way intersection with stop signs, and then like all of us come at the same time, and then people are like, and I'm just like, fuck it, I'm going first.
No one ever seems to know how to navigate fucking
during
stops.
the school, it always says the person on the right of you gets to go first. But then how does that work when there's 4 of you?
There's 2 parts to that rule. The first part is if you arrive at the line first, you're next.
Yes.
And then if everyone is there, then it just keeps going to the right. And the only time that changes is when the person on the right is going straight. The guy who's across from him going straight can go at the same time.
Yeah, I always do that. If you guys are going straight at the same time, if there's no blinker, I'll go when they go.
Or if the guy to your right is taking a right, then you can take a right. Yeah. If everyone took a right, they wouldn't affect anyone else.
Or I hate the times where you both pull up at the same time, and one of you either is going to turn left or right or be in each other's way. But you pull up there first, stopped.
Yeah.
But the other person kind of didn't really stop, and they just go. I'm like, you fucking did.
And then on the other hand, there's also a small number of people who are overly considerate or overly nice about it to the point that it upsets me because they're not driving correctly. Like they're waiting. They're like, no, come on. I'm like, no, it's your fucking turn.
It's
You
your
go. And it drives me crazy. Like, look, if you just obey the laws, you don't have to be considerate of other people. The laws have built-in consideration for other drivers.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you always ask me what my pet peeves are too.
Yeah.
I thought of one. It's always been this way. Say you're walking into a building or any type of fucking structure, and you're like maybe like, I don't know, like 15 away from somebody going towards the door, and then they fucking open it, and then they wait for you even though you're like 20 feet away.
Oh, I do that sometimes.
I hate those people because I'm at my pace. Now you're making me try to rush because you're trying to be nice, which I get. But now when I see that happen, I just find like another entrance, or I just fucking wait because I have this weird thing with people opening doors for me. I don't like it. It's weird.
Yeah, or another way to get out of it is you pull out your phone real quick and just kind of signal them like, I'll go ahead or whatever. I do that sometimes, and
then I don't want to do the same thing to somebody else. Do they feel the same way? So
Yeah.
I don't even like pay attention behind me anymore. I just open the door and go, dude.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes that's all you can really do.
That's all we do.
Yeah.
Alrighty then, fuck you guys. We're out. We were supposed to have a guest today, but some shit happened.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had a guest lined up, and we're still gonna have him on. Just some kind of transportation issue fell through.
He's
So,
a poet.
He is. He's a
I'm
poet,
gonna love
and
it.
he knowed it.
Speaking of poets, I'm going to say one little poet line for you.
Okay.
Oh, plunge me deep in love. Put out my senses, leave me deaf and blind. Swept by the tempest of your love, a taper in rushing wind. Want a bone now?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Whose poem is that?
That is by I Am Not Yours, Sarah Teasdale.
Oh, that's a tweet?
Nope, it's just an actual poem. Like the number one poem scripture right here is actually William Shakespeare, because you know he's the most famous one.
Pretty much. I mean,
It is.
I don't even really think of him as a poet when I think
Yeah,
of
I know.
Shakespeare.
I
though.
think it plays. You know.
Yeah, he was a playwright. And, I mean, I know that he uses poetry in his writing and stuff, but
Yeah.
ultimately he wasn't writing poems as if, like, you would just read one or read it to people. They were, like, part of the script of a play or something, you know, pretty much.
And his is, love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. And then there's a little note at the bottom there that says, to make sure your love lasts, here at the secrets of best relationships.
Number one, have a 7-inch dick.
Yeah, it's weird, you know.
Number two, have a 12-inch wallet.
If you have a 3-inch dick, dude, you're screwed. You got no chance. No chance at all.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of women are getting nicer and saying, like, oh, size doesn't really matter. It's
It
all how you use
fucking
it.
does.
That's what guys usually say.
Well, I mean, yeah. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know the rules.
Ladies, be honest.
If it-
size does matter to an extent.
I guess it, like, if your dick's small and you can't, this is how I think of it, okay? If you can't do all of the positions that there is with your own dick, then your dick's too small, right? Now,
Yeah.
I feel like if you can do all the fucking positions as, like, a big 10-inch, 12-inch dick would do, then I feel like it's okay.
So like
Maybe
you-
that's only because I can do all the positions and I feel like it's okay.
So
Maybe
like
that's
you
what I
walk
tell
around your
myself.
house doing the wheelbarrow sometimes and stuff. You know that one?
Like this? And
yeah,
then you
yeah,
go,
yeah,
woo,
yeah.
woo, woo.
She's walking on her hands.
Yeah.
There's a
Sometimes
few-
I would try to be funny because I'm a funny guy,
Yeah.
and I'd hang a towel on it and be like, "Look, I'm a towel rack."
I'm gonna remember that when you finally get another place. If you ask to, you know, or if I have to go around and check it out, I'm
Yeah.
gonna make sure I avoid your towel rack.
Like, Jesse, you need a towel rack? I'll come in there. Hold on.
No towel rack. Oh, hey, you can hang your coat up. Hang a little hoodie off of it. One time I've always wanted to like draw a little face on it. Like maybe not with
I've
Sharpie.
always wanted to get a top hat.
Little top hat, a little face, and then like a tiny little monocle or something.
Maybe like a mustache. Wee wee. That's it. Next one, we're gonna have dick pictures, and we're gonna pick which one is the best looking with the mustache, top hat. And
Do you think that there's any women out there who want to like put googly eyes over their vagina or something, like maybe a top hat also? Or...
They have those ones too with like the funny tattoos, you know, like the Homer one. And
have you seen some of the gross tattoos out there? Like, I think there was a thread called like trashy tattoos or something, and it's men and women who just get these really ridiculously stupid or trashy tattoos. But the one that specifically reminded me of this was it was a girl who had a pelvic tattoo, like on her waist, right above the crotch area.
Yeah.
And it was like a tattoo of a pile of poo with a bunch of flies flying around it and stuff.
Who would get
I'm
that?
like, if I'm about to go down on a girl and I see that tattoo,
I'm gonna be thinking of corn.
Is there any corn in there? Fuck out of there! That's what I'm.
Is there any corn in that tattoo?
Y'all got some corn in there?
Yeah.
I don't remember eating no corn.
Well, let's not be late for your movie date.
Yep, I gotta go catch Spoderman with the little brother.
Next time we'll have a guest on here and we'll surprise you. It could be somebody famous. It could not. You'll never know.
It could be one of you.
Yeah. If you want to be on, ask us. Don't be fucking afraid.
Yeah.
Don't forget, we're on Spotify and iTunes too if you don't want to look at our stupid faces.
Yeah, in fact, when because I re-listen to these shows after we do them almost immediately, just because I'm always trying to pick up things that I do wrong or that, you know, things we could have talked about or whatever. And so I don't even usually watch the YouTube versions when I'm listening. I'll just put it on iTunes or something.
As I'm driving.
Yeah.
Boop, boop. And then don't forget to check out our new Sparkler Bomb video.
Yeah, we threw it up. The first 2 Sparkler Bomb videos are on my private YouTube channel, which I'll put links on the...
Well, if you search Nick Sparkler Bomb, they all 3 pop up.
Yeah. But, like, if you're subscribed to our channel here, the other 2 videos are not on the Cheeky Shenanigans channel. They're on my private one. I'll put up links on the Nick Sparkler Bomb 3. But it was actually a really badass one, and there's 2 bombs on it this time.
The first video ever we did, like almost 40,000 views, which is crazy.
I think it's over 40,000.
Is it? It's crazy. Like our faces, my face, your voice has been seen 40,000 times. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what's implied there.
Well, yeah, but usually, you know, we don't make it that far.
I wasn't looking up that one.
Oh, he's looking up porn, ladies and gentlemen. He's looking up gay porn. I'm
getting a view
like,
now.
Would you be surprised if like Jesse came out and he was like, guys, I've been watching gay porn lately, and like people would be like, you know, we saw it coming. It's okay though. It's all right. Did you find it?
Yeah, but I'm wondering where you were going with that.
I'm just trying to, you know.
So Nick Sparkler Bomb 1, the original video, 50,000 views.
Holy shit! It gets
insane.
bigger every year during 4th of July.
It really does. The second one is hovering at 1.5 thousand.
Yeah, that was it wasn't really good.
And Nick Sparkler Bomb 3 is already at 73 views, which puts it ahead of about half of our episodes on YouTube.
Yeah, I know.
Also.
It's crazy.
So we got that one. We are going to have a couple more guests coming up. Maybe do a couple in a row since we've done like 3 in a row with just us now.
Yeah.
And
we're going to try to do a couple of comedy bits too. Down the road.
We're going to be going to comedy night again on Monday night. I don't know if we'll do an episode afterwards again, but I'm really trying to get Nick up there to perform this time.
And then we're thinking about doing like a quick like 2-minute comedy sketch, you know, kind of like doing like a thing.
Yeah. We're going to try and think of some other types of videos we can post on our channel. So if you guys have ideas or you have a sketch idea or a joke that you want to
comedy funny shit.
Yeah, we love interacting with you guys on Twitter or Instagram, all that shit. We love it. So, you know, it's not like we're too famous to talk to you guys. We want to talk to you guys more. So.
And if you're a dude and you want to send dick pics, send it right to Jesse's way.
Yeah, Nick has me scroll through them and weed out all the bad ones so that he only has to see the amazing,
the good ones,
throbbing,
the pretty
ones,
yogurt slingers.
Yep. All right, guys.
Alrighty then.
Thanks for sticking out another episode of Cheeky Shenanigans. Once again, my name is Jesse, also known as Random Hero.
Ow. My name is...
All right, everyone, have a consensual day.
Bye.
Fucking idiot.